Look, we all love watching a big rocket launch, right? But honestly, some of the most mind-blowing stories in space, they aren't the launches. They're the quiet discoveries, the ones that sneak up on us and just completely rewrite what we thought we knew about the universe. So, let me ask you something. You think you've got the basics down? You know, the fundamental rules of how space works. Yeah, you might want to hold that thought because today we're diving into some brand new discoveries that are just shattering the rulebook. Turns out the universe is a whole lot weirder and cooler than we ever give it credit for.
All right, let's jump right in with rule number 1. For as long as I can remember, the textbooks all said the same thing, right? Only the giant planets get to have rings. Simple. Well, that rule, it's officially broken.
I mean, we all know the classics, the old guard. Saturn, of course, but also Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. But now we've got this whole crew of new rebels on the scene. Astronomers started spotting rings around these tiny little worlds, places like Chariklo, Haumea, and Quaoar. And for a while, everyone just kind of shrugged and said, weird exceptions. But that's not the full story. Get this, the latest rule breaker is a tiny world called Chiron. It's only about 125 miles across. This thing called a Centaur, zipping around out past Saturn. And the crazy part isn't just that it has rings, it's that it has a whole complex system of them. And they're changing. And this didn't just pop up overnight. Scientists had hints something was going on around Chiron way back in the 90s. But just look at how this unfolded. By piecing together observations from the last decade, they realized, holy cow, this isn't just a static ring. We are literally watching a ring system evolve and form right before our very eyes. That's a first. Which, raised a giant question. How? How can these fragile little rings even exist around a tiny body like this? See, the classic explanation is shepherd moons. Think of Saturn. It's got all these little moons acting like sheepdogs, using their gravity to herd all the ring particles and keep them in line. It's a great system. But here's the problem. We can't find any shepherd moons around Chiron. None. So what's doing the herding? And the answer to that question brings us to our second broken rule. Because in trying to figure out Chiron's rings, scientists stumbled onto a totally new way that stuff gets built in space. It boils down to 3 simple-sounding things. First, Chiron isn't a nice, smooth sphere. It's lumpy, kind of potato-shaped. Second, it's spinning really fast. And third, and this is the aha moment, that lumpy shape, spinning super fast, creates these regular gravitational nudges on all the dust and ice around it. These nudges act like invisible shepherds, pushing the material into those perfect, narrow rings. It's a whole new law of physics in action we'd never even thought of. Okay, so from tiny rings, let's zoom way out. For our next broken rule, we're talking about stars, specifically how they're born in pairs. And yeah, you guessed it, another textbook rule is about to get tossed out the window. We know Betelgeuse, right? That giant bright red star in Orion's shoulder. Well, for ages, astronomers suspected it wasn't alone, that it had a companion star. The problem was, Betelgeuse is so ridiculously bright, you just couldn't see anything next to it. Well, they finally found it, and its unofficial name is, I kid you not, Betel Buddy. Finding a companion star? That's not a big deal. Happens all the time. But this one is a shocker. The size difference is just absurd. One astronomer put it perfectly. In stellar terms, this is the equivalent of a blue whale being paired with a dolphin. I mean, wow. It's such a mismatch that it makes us question if we even know how binary stars form in the first place. And that's not just a cute analogy. Let's look at the numbers. The old rules say that when 2 stars form together, they should be, roughly the same size. But Betel Buddy is about the same mass as our sun. Betelgeuse, on the other hand, is a monster. It's about 17 times the mass of our sun. That's not supposed to be possible. And this is a huge deal. As one of the researchers, Anna O'Grady, explained, this opens up a whole new field of study. She calls them extreme mass ratio binaries. It's an area we've barely touched, mostly because finding these wildly mismatched pairs is just so darn hard. Okay, for our last broken rule, let's bring it back home, to Earth. We're talking rocket science. And it turns out, even here, common sense can be dead wrong. Because sometimes the smartest, most efficient thing you can do is something that looks incredibly wasteful. Think about SpaceX. Their whole identity, their whole revolution is built on reusability. They're the company that lands rockets. So why on earth would they deliberately throw away a Falcon 9 booster? It sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what they did, and it was probably one of the smartest moves they've made recently. Reason number 1, pure performance. To land a rocket, you have to save a ton of fuel for the trip back down. If you don't save that fuel, if you just burn it all on the way up, you can carry a much heavier payload. We're talking a jump from about 5,500 kilograms to 8,300. The satellite they were launching, SpainSat, was 6,100 kilograms, too heavy for a reusable flight, but perfect for an expendable one. It simply needed that extra oomph. And reason number 2 was just plain smart asset management. The booster they used was an old veteran. This was its 22nd flight, and it was scheduled to retirement anyway. So instead of wasting a newer booster, they sent this old workhorse out for one last blaze of glory on a high-powered mission. It shows they're not just dogmatic about reusability, they're pragmatic. They use the right tool for the right job. So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's pretty clear. The universe really doesn't care about our neat and tidy little rule books. It's going to do what it's going to do. Let's just run through the list of shattered rules. Only giant planets have rings? Nope, broken. Rings need shepherd moons to exist? Broken. We've got invisible gravity nudges now. Binary stars have to be about the same size? Broken. And even the golden rule of modern rocketry that reusable is always better? Well, as we just saw, even that one can be broken. Every one of these discoveries is a reminder that we're just scratching the surface. They force us to throw out old assumptions and really look at the universe with fresh eyes. And it leaves you wondering, right? With every new telescope and every new probe we send out, which fundamental truth about the cosmos is next on the chopping block?